Welcome to the Growth Focus Podcast. I'm Gary Lafferty, your host and founder of the Growth Focus Partnerships, where we help MSP owners and B2B tech leaders build more predictable income. Today's guest is Alex Whitelaw. Now, Alex has spent over 25 years in construction operations, apprentice to board level, before making the jump into tech. He now runs an AI consultancy and literacy training business, helping SMEs cut through the noise, connect the dots across their fragmented systems, and actually put AI to work in their business. Not in theory, in practice. And that's the heart of what we're getting into today, because most founders and leaders know they need to be doing something with AI. They're seeing the noise, they're feeling the pressure, and some of them have already taken a swing at it and unfortunately missed. Alex talks about what actually looks like the failed tech starts, the businesses with tools that don't talk to each other, and the ones who got it right. He also gets into something most people in this space avoid, the gap between building a business brand and building a personal one, and why hiding behind your logo might be quietly costing you. If you're an MSP owner or a B2B tech leader trying to figure out where AI fits into your growth strategy without wasting time or money on the wrong things, then this episode is for you. So as per usual, no fluff, let's get into it. So, Alex, great to have you here with us today. So for anyone meeting you for the first time, can you give us a very quick overview on who you are and what do you spend most of your time working on today?
Cool. Yeah. Okay, Gary. Thank you. Thank you for having me. Really good to be with you today. I suppose for me, my story is quite interesting, really, because I can literally say I'm apprentice through to board level director in the construction sector. So that's my background, mainly in the operations side. And then I got to where I got to in life, and I was like, wasn't fulfilled. Always wanted to go out and do my own thing. Always had an entrepreneurial mindset of wanting to dance off and do all sorts of things. So in doing that, decided what a great space to go into, the tech world. So then partnered with Valenta, which is a global UiPath automation provider. And then the journey from there has just transpired into now as offering AI literacy training, and then also a consultancy service where we support SMEs embrace AI and what that looks like in today's world. And I bring my 25 plus years of experience in operations, and I can stand there and say I've literally laid bricks, if that makes sense, to be able to bring that expertise into the modern world and sit within companies and understand how they work, and then position the tools that are available now to upskill, upstream and scale businesses by using that technology.
You know, that's the key thing, isn't it? It's interesting. To a degree, running a business is running a business. Operations is operations. You know, it's about the growth. It's about making sure everything works. It's about making sure you're profitable. So each industry might do it differently, but ultimately the goal is the same. The process somewhat stays the same. So you walking into a client and say, yeah, it might be a different industry, but I've still walked the walk, and put boots on the ground to get to where we are today. So that being said, what was the moment that you realized you wanted to build something different now and shift from your successful career and what you were doing in construction to saying, do you know what? I'm going to go into tech, a completely new industry. And on top of that, I'm going to jump on the bell curve of AI.
It's an interesting one, actually, and I've done a lot of self-reflection on that. I think the main thing for me, like I'm not diagnosed, but I have got the traits of having ADHD and also dyslexia at the same time. Now, with the modern technology that's available, especially with the LLMs in AI, that is a game changer for me. And I loved what that technology did to support me, but not only support me, can then support other individuals and businesses at the same time. So seeing what that can do for a start for me personally and how I can use it, but then also then I'm from an industry where it's very fragmented. There's so many bits of software being used across a business, and this will be the same across most businesses. It's not just construction, but it's what I can relate to, that you've got one department using one bit of software, another department using another software, and then another department using another bit of software, and not one of them bits of software talks to each other. So you've got fragmentation within a business because of that. Now we're in a world where all of that talks to each other, or you can make it talk to each other, should we say, by using the technology that's out there to join the dots and cross the T's, if that makes sense, in a streamed way. So businesses can operate more smoothly and effectively. And that's what I really liked. And it was just different. And I've just always liked to take that risk. For me, it was a risk going into technology because it's a space I don't know. But actually, when you get in amongst it and you understand it, it's so relatable, it's so usable, and it's easy then just for me to make it simple. And it's about, for me, making it simple for people to operate with.
I think that's a great thing to say, because we do tend to live in an industry where sometimes it is unnecessarily overcomplicated. It doesn't have to be that way, but it's almost like, hey, because of what we're doing, we've kind of got to make it sound more complicated than it is. Otherwise, people will think, is that it? Is this why I'm paying that money for it? So we'll dive a little bit deeper into that a little bit later on in this episode. But before we do, I've got a simple question for you. It might be a simple question, it might be a hard one. But what was the hardest shift you had to make personally when you moved into entrepreneurship?
So for me personally, it's that, and especially not only going into entrepreneurship, but also going into a new industry, a new sector in technology. Like, you go from construction, foundations, bricks and mortar, it's got a roof, it's got windows. That's been around for years and years and years. People know how to build a building, so to speak. Going into a world of technology where as we've just said, there's new tech coming at you all day and you're trying to keep up to speed with what the latest tool is. Like, there's some day, and everyone will be able to relate to this as an entrepreneur. There's some days you wake up and you're like, what am I doing? Like, but then you've got to believe in yourself. You've got to believe in what you're doing, believe in that goal, and believe in why you're doing it as well. Like, and that's always resort back to why you're doing it. Now, everyone's gone into being an entrepreneur and having their own business or doing the venture that they're doing for a reason. So you've always got to, on them wobbly days, bring yourself back to, well, why am I actually doing this? And there'll be a reason there, and that's what you got to believe in. And you got to then reset your goals and re-go again, because it is hard at times. It's lonely as well. So, like, I surround myself with a lot of other business owners. I surround myself with a lot of other entrepreneurs. I go to a lot of networking events. This morning was a perfect example. I did my first ever sports networking with other entrepreneurs. So we went to play paddle this morning, 7:30, and that was a really good way to meet entrepreneurs, network, talk to people whilst doing a sports activity at the same time. So that's what I really enjoy, is in terms of like surrounding myself with other people. And like, I'm only today WhatsApping various other entrepreneurs that I've met, like just checking in on them. Really, we've said that each week we'll check in on each other to make sure that we're sticking to our goals and sticking what we want to do. So just that's what I do a lot, which is what I get the most enjoyment out of as well, because you're meeting new people all the time, as well as
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
focusing yourself
Absolutely.
and trying
Yeah,
to
there's
achieve
going
what
to
you want to
people here
achieve.
probably nodding, watching this, what and nodding, and go, yeah. And we don't want to be lowly. We're not exactly extroverts, especially within the tech industry. But at the end of the day, we don't want to be in a cocoon either. We want to be out there, and tech people aren't necessarily known for being under the spotlight. But let's talk about these entrepreneurs out there. You consult. We're making sure that sectors within the AI, within their companies, talk to each other. When a founder first comes to you, Alex, what is usually happening in their business that makes them reach out to you?
I think at the minute there's so much noise around the world in terms of AI, what's coming, what's new, what's the new tool, what's the latest tool. Like this last week, there's only been the whole Claude stroke OpenAI US government scenario. Like, it puts a perfect example in terms of like how it can change overnight, if that makes sense. But people come to me with curiosity. I think they know they need to embrace it, but they don't know where to start. They're seeing all this noise out there, know that they've got to do something about it, but don't necessarily where to start. I've got a couple of businesses that I'm working with at the minute that have, I'd say, got failed tech start as well. So they probably shot into it too soon without understanding what the right tools for their business is. So that's what I try and drill down first, is to understand, well, what do they see getting out of it first? And then because I'm working in that environment and understand what tools are out there and what can be used, then it's good for me to then just sit with them, understand what they want to get out of it, understand what their business goals are as well in terms of growth, because a business having a growth strategy is really easy then to position technology against it, to understand how it can support them in terms of growth. Because sometimes growth, people just think, well, I need to just get more staff in. More staff is more money, and that's not necessarily the case. So understanding that side of it at the same time is really important. And then what I do is sort of position then almost a strategy with them that then sits along their business growth goals to support them in terms of then just what it looks like within their business. And that isn't only construction as well. I'm working with many different businesses across, like, every business has a similar sort of goal. Everyone's got either a service to offer or a product to sell. And that journey for that, a client within a business, is often the same. So being able to position it operationally and position the right tools and technology that's out there now for people to grow I get really real fulfillment out of that as well. Like sitting there and saying, well, actually, we can do this. We can look at that. Well, actually, how knowledgeable are your staff about it? And then being able to give them the opportunity to also train their staff at the same time.
Mm.
Um, is,
Well,
is,
let's
is a,
talk
is a
about
new
growth.
sort of,
As you say, you're helping companies grow it. They're coming to you. They think, yeah, we've got a growth plan. Yours works kind of alongside it. That's your expertise. When it comes to working, what's working for you, what's actually working for you right now when it comes to generating leads and conversations, what would you say is probably the best thing that's happening for you right now out there?
I think actually what I'm doing at the minute through my LinkedIn posts, and I'm about to go in doing some meta advertising at the same time, is rooting it down to being original. Like, especially with what's going on in the world at the minute, and it's good analogy really. But there's obviously with Iran and what's going off over there, what's suddenly erupted. Everyone's seen all these video clips flick up, and people don't know if they're real or not real. Like literally seeing these clips of fighter jets being shot down or being chased by missiles. It's like, well, is it real or not? So I think for me, what's working at the minute is actually being original, like actually talking my mind in terms of, a good example is I've walked straight out of a business last week, really supported them operationally, had a really good sit down with their operations team and looked how automation can really sit within their business to help them streamline. And then by streamlining, it helps them grow. I walked straight out of that and I literally record a little video to post out, which is just me brain dumping what I've just done with a business where it's been using technology and talking technology, but then actually I go into a world where actually I'm just being real then and just talking. So I think there's a lot to be said for that, because people don't know what is real and not real at the minute. Don't get me wrong, there's some amazing automations out there, like especially around like your CRM systems, emailing campaigns, LinkedIn campaigns that you can do. Like some of the automations and tools you can use are brilliant and absolutely save you a lot of time, which is a no-brainer if that makes sense. But in terms of like that whole people getting to know you, and this is for any entrepreneur really, I'd say that a good example actually, look at Richard Branson. Look at the amount of following he's got personally on the social media side of things, and then you look at Virgin and look at the amount of followers that Virgin's got. He has got millions in comparison to Virgin's got hundreds of thousands, if that makes sense. So it's a big difference. So it's that being an individual that people can relate to, which will then help you grow. Yes, use the technology that's out there, use the automations. That is like a no-brainer. Like, I'd even say to everyone, like, literally get yourself an agent that's acting as a board member for you. Like, your Notebook LM will do that for you in a good way, and Claude as well. Set an agent up that is working as your sidekick on your board for you, that you can ask questions and any queries that you've got. That is something that you need to learn to do as an entrepreneur, I would say, but also be original and be yourself. And
Well, do you know what?
it's not easy, don't
I'm
get me
gonna
wrong.
pare that back a little bit, Alex, because you've given us so much just in those couple of minutes from there, and I've got to tear it back because I really want to get people to take a few nuggets that they can literally take straight away. I think going back to where you first started, using LinkedIn, there's a lot of noise on LinkedIn, just like you said when you first came on, and I'm sure you agree with me on this. There's so much noise, but what we're seeing is also a lot of AI generation. There's
Yeah, yeah.
no authenticity to it. There's no genuineness to it. And what the market lacks and what people are attaching themselves to is, well, can I see authenticity in that? And if I can see authenticity in that, that's when we'll begin to see people start following them, taking an interest, because it's in this world now, in this AI generated world, that's something real. And that's not becoming more and
Yeah,
more
yeah.
rare on platforms, and including, and unfortunately, a place like LinkedIn. So that is one thing that we would always promote. The fact is that let's get out there, do videos, let's be real out there, let's people see you, hear you, and just be genuine from that. Then you mentioned the fact that building the personal brand, and we see this all the time, don't we? That it's almost like, well, the business is more important than I am. I'm going to take a back seat. Yet, and I don't want to compete with the business, but you don't have to. You're like the brand ambassador of it with your
Yeah,
story,
yeah.
why you started it, what were the challenges and the hills and the mountains you had to get through, not only then, but today. And this is why people listen to this podcast, because we're honest about stuff like that, and we talk about that. And then I do, like you said, there's plenty of automations that can be done from that. So with LinkedIn and automations working really well, not just for you, but for me and for my clients as well, and other people out there, let's talk about the flip side. What have you tried, to grow your business recently that really hasn't worked in a way that you expected it to work?
Yeah, I've tried so many things, as you do when you first set out, like as a founder of a business. And I think, like, one thing that I think I've really tried, I suppose it's only recently that I've proper, like, leaned on the personal brand side of things and actually started doing videos. It takes, I think personally, it takes a lot to do it, for a lot of people to do it. How you've just described it, with people be hiding behind the brand of a business, like that era's gone, because people are pining to understand and get to know people. So to start off with, I was doing a lot of just images, AI created images. Like, probably I'd go and take a post of something I've been at, but it would just be a still photo. Whereas videos and content that's active and interactive is far more effective now. So things that I've done some advertising in magazines, paid quite a lot of money for doing advertising in magazines and got no leads from it whatsoever. And that's just like a blanket page of, like, this is what we offer. Didn't get any one lead at all through that. So the most amount of traction is, as we've just said, is about the personal brand and being yourself. And it's hard, like putting yourself out there, like recording yourself. You think you're a fool doing it, but you've got to persist with it. And actually, the best way that I did it is, I thought I was a fool, but I just put it out there anyway and forgot about it. So that's probably the best advice I can give to anyone, that literally just do a recording. And, like, the tools that you can use now, like I use CapCut, for example, like, really easy to use. You can edit it really well. Doesn't take long at all. And you revert back, like, only a couple of years ago, and people would have been spending thousands to create video content like that, or advertisements like that. And now you're doing it in less than 10 minutes if you know what you're doing. It's just a matter of playing with it to understand how to do it. So for me, magazine advertisements, people are, as we've just said, are pining for that interaction, that, like, understanding that you're real. They say, don't they, like, it's like almost 7 points of contact before you'll actually get a sale. But then when actually people are coming to you, they already know you, they already understand you, they've already been on your webpage, they've already been on your LinkedIn, they've already watched all your videos, and they understand you. So actually, it should be easier as a sales point of view, because when they actually do come to us now, they're almost ready to buy. So it should, in theory, should be an easier sell for us. Not that it doesn't feel that way, if you know what I mean, but that's the theory behind it. It should actually be easy if you create the right content for someone to be
Yeah,
able
and
to
that's
understand
the key
what you
thing is
do,
it
what you
founder.
deliver.
We've been an advocate for founder-led content, founder-led authority for so many years now. Yeah, and yeah, I love having you here, Alex, because obviously what you're saying is it is important personally to be visible and be seen as an authority out there. And you and I were just talking before this episode. We were saying that people are finding it really hard to stand out in such a noisy crowd because everyone sounds the same. And if everyone is churning out the same AI sludge, which I think is a key word LinkedIn is using nowadays, this
Yeah,
AI sludge that's going out there, or slop. I think slop, that's the word they're using.
slop. Yeah,
AI
AI
slop.
swap. Yeah.
AI slop. Then the, how to stand out actually isn't as difficult as you think it is. It is just being
Yeah.
personal, being authentic, being genuine, but you've got to be consistent with it. Like you said, there's software out there that can help you. There's other people out there that can help you, but you've got to find the time to do it. That being said, content is really noisy out there. What other pieces of content would you suggest that is important, AI led or not, that founders, leaders should be utilizing, if not very least looking into, that could really help them stand out above all the slop and the noise that's out there?
I think I used to, the way I look at it is I used to spend hours like scrolling. People do. People spend hours scrolling. You get stuck in a rabbit hole. Before you know it, it's midnight because you've been scrolling on some rubbish, watching some rabbit jump through a hoop or whatever you're watching. What I do now personally is I use that scrolling time to learn and educate myself. So I follow certain individuals that I believe are sort of leaders in the industry on LinkedIn or on Instagram, for example, or other socials, and I just review the content they're putting on, because some of the content they're doing is phenomenal, really, in terms of just giving you knowledge, giving you. We were talking earlier about Stephen Bartlett. Like, he put a bit of content out this week. I reposted it because it made me really reflect, and it was about like how actually in the tech world we are at such an early stage of the world adopting, and like I'm like most people waking up some mornings going, oh, what am I doing now? Like this, I can't get anyone to believe what we're doing. But actually, when you understand the journey that we're on, we are at the very beginning of this. And the people that are actually using the tools that are out there that are commonly open to anyone on the street to use if they've got the right bit of technology, i.e. a phone in front of them, then we're just right at the very beginning of that journey. So I think for me, it's about learning off other people that are also learning, and then therefore as learners we all learn off each other, don't we? Because there's probably people also then, like I've had someone message me recently saying like, I love the content you're putting on because I'm reaching out because I've been watching you, I've been following you, and actually I think I need a bit of that now. So there's people that are then in turn following me, and I'm learning off other people. So if we all help each other out, we're all going to grow together, aren't we, at the end of the day?
Do you know what, Alex? I can already see and feel the listeners and the watch and the subscribers and the viewers of this going, I want to nod, Alex. I want to nod. I can see it's a really good idea that I'm going to put myself out there, but that's just not me. It's just not me. It's already filling me with fear and dread to put myself out there, and even though I do know if I don't, then I will be trampled upon and other people who aren't as good as them will be shining. What would be your insight to this? What would you be telling those people who, as you said, you've just recently started doing it. It's going to be it's a tough start. It's like trying to push a rock up a mountain. You've got to get
Yeah.
it. What would be your first piece of advice to people sitting there going, yeah, I agree with you, Alex, but it's just not me?
Come up with a strategy of how you're going to do it. For a starter, like actually don't just go, oh, I'm just going to record myself, because you wouldn't. Like, you want to be able to understand, well, actually think about some questions. but also then think about questions that you would be asked by someone else, or almost put yourself in your customer's shoes in terms of, well, what do you think your customer's problem is? That's the question. You answer that. So you telling so you've got scripts, not rehearse. I don't rehearse anything. I go off the cuff. But some people might want to do a little rehearsal or a script, if you know what I mean, in terms of what that looks like, and almost come up with like a 5-day plan of like literally doing 5 recordings, one every day, different subject every day. As simple as like, what is the biggest headache I feel my clients have? I think my client's headache is this, and this is the solution that I can offer, and just talk about it. I think it's quite good. I spoke earlier about surrounding yourself with other people. Like, no one is on their own with this. I'm doing it. You're doing it. Other people know they want to do it, but are scared of doing it. I did it surrounding myself with other people that were also doing it. And I'm on a WhatsApp group where we're all talking about doing it together. Oh, I'm going to do it today. Oh, no, I'm not going to do it today. I've chickened out of it. I've not done it. So, like, go to the networking groups and other people, you'll find out other entrepreneurs are in the same boat of wanting to do it, but not doing it. So buddy up with someone, buddy up with another business. It doesn't have to even be in the same sector to be supporting each other, because what you'll probably learn by that and talking to other people, that majority of people are in that boat where they want to do it as well as you doing it. So you can just support each other, even doing it together in the same space. They could be there like asking you the questions and do it together as a two-way thing, almost as like a stage podcast, if that makes sense, as a
Yeah,
way
just
of
jump
doing
on
it.
Zoom, isn't it? The case of just jumping on Zoom and having a chat and press and record.
Yeah, yeah,
That's it. Just
exactly.
yeah, I
Simple as,
love
yeah,
that.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know, you can probably see me nodding, me smiling, because that's exactly what I've been singing from the rooftops now for almost 3 years, and saying, "Come on, tech guys, you can do this. It doesn't have to be as difficult as you think it's going to be." So I'm really glad that you're in the same boat with me, Alex, there, and say, "Yeah, just get it done." I love that accountability thing. Okay, so before we round, as you know, we have a quick round. So I'm going to ask you some 5 quick questions. And the first answer that comes to your head, Alex. Are you ready?
Far away.
All right. Question number 1, the biggest myth about growing a business now is using AI.
The biggest myth about growing a business is AI. Well, it can really help you grow a business by implementing automations. I know that for a fact. So it spells down to people not understanding it. And I'm probably going on a little bit in terms of here, but the biggest myth is that people just don't understand how it works properly, I suppose. And that's about learning as well. So like that lack of understanding, like, I suppose there's a myth as well. People are like, well, actually, everything's AI generated. It's actually not. We've just had that long conversation about being original. Not everything is AI generated, so it is a myth to an extent as well, that side of it. But
Yeah. I think, again, I'm diverse. So I should be sticking to the questions, but I love chatting to you, Alex. It's kind of this thing of they all coming to get your jobs. That's a myth. It's those, it's a tool. And it should be used as a
absolutely, I
tool.
think, I think we discussed that before. I think in terms of that myth of everyone, and that's about keeping the human in the loop. Don't get me wrong, like there is elements where jobs will be taken in the larger organizations because they can automate roles that humans were doing. But what I'm seeing in my space at the minute is we're creating jobs like through the work we're doing. So like a good example is the AI training that we're doing. I've literally had a meeting today about how we're going to be launching specific training within the construction sector for AI literacy. And we're going to need a trainer. So there's a trainer straight away that like we created a job today, if you know what I mean. We need a trainer. Where are we going to get them from?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's a good space. The other space that we're working in as well, which is quite good, and I'm going expanding a little bit in that, but I think it's quite really, really good. And I don't think anyone else is doing it at the minute, but we are creating AI learning platforms for job seekers. So what we're doing is we're creating a literacy, we're calling it Basecamp, a literacy AI learning that's designated specifically for job seekers. So people that are out of work. So we're going to upskill them from them being out of work. So that's something that we're working on at the minute, as well as that expanding in the construction and manufacturing, engineering space as well in terms of learning, and
Love it.
that's like coming from the bottom up, if you know what I mean. But what we'll
Yeah,
also
I
do
love
is
that.
come top
I
down as well.
love that. Helping, getting people to, no matter where you are on the mountain, always stick a hand down, bring other people up with you. Absolutely love that. Let's get back to the quick round. Number 2, one thing founders underestimate when it comes to growing their company.
The amount of time and effort that needs to be put in. Doesn't like this myth, and I suppose it's a myth as well, is like that a business is born overnight and you can make millions overnight by clicking your fingers because I've entered a world of new technology. People buy off people at the end of the day. And yes, you can put adverts out there and sell your services, but it's back on the conversation that we had earlier, where you've got to build a brand, you've got to build originality, because that's what people are liking and buying now, especially with this world of people not knowing what's real and not real, if that makes sense. So that's what I would personally say, like that's the big one for me.
Brilliant. Okay, question number 3, one growth channel that you think deserve more attention than it's getting.
We've just been chatting a lot about it, and I think that a good growth channel for people is just being original. Like, we're in this space of no one knows, the AI slop, as we call it. Like, we're in this space of like people not knowing what's real and what isn't real, and we're going to soon enter a space where you're going to be having loads of conversations in the world where you're talking to bots. And people get frustrated with that. I think we'll come into a world where people actually pay extra to talk straight to a human straight away. Like that is coming, and there's probably a little rabbit hole of someone to make a business there of a call center full of people again, just because people have paid to get that talking
Just
to
go
a
right, go
human
back on
full
itself and let
circle
history
round.
repeat
Yeah,
itself.
that'll come round again. Absolutely, but yeah,
Fantastic. Okay, number
that's the one.
4.
That's the one for me.
Number 4, one growth tactic founders should probably stop doing.
Stop doing, I think, is hiding behind their business brand. Like we spoke a lot about brands earlier, and like this whole like this old persona of this. It relates back from the industrial age, doesn't it? Of like people working in factories, and then that was the business, if you know what I mean. And that them times are changing rapidly. So I think, like, as an entrepreneur and as a founder, as a business leader, like, you can't hide behind your business, so to speak, anymore. I think you should come out. I think you should be open. I think it's all about transparency with people you work with as well, and being open and honest at the same time.
Brilliant. And last question, one takeaway you want every founder or leader listening today to remember.
Again, I'm going to touch on what we've been talking on, but I really believe in it because I've started doing it myself, and I'm seeing that I'm getting more like impressions, for example, on LinkedIn. But it is about being original, be yourself, tell a story, everyone will have their own individual story. So I think by just telling a story, putting yourself out there, doing some recording so people can relate to you, like that is a real takeaway for me at the minute in this world we're in, because it's dead easy to hide behind slop, as we're calling it, or even just images, if that makes sense. Whereas actually people can relate to you and people can like you by just being able to relate to you. People will come to you and people will remember you as well. So I think that's quite important, really.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, listen, Alex, it's been, we've come to the end of our day. Again, every time I talk to you, we can talk on for hours and hours and hours. It's been we have to do a part 2 or part 3, whichever one we're on now. But listen, it's
Yeah.
been great having you here, Alex. Thank you very much for your time. If people want to get hold of you, if they want to potentially work with you, what's the best way of them doing that?
Just straight on LinkedIn. Go on LinkedIn. You can find me as Alex Whitelaw. All my details, contacts, everything's all on LinkedIn. So all my contact details are all on there. So that's the best route to get to us there.
Fantastic. I'll make sure the team put your LinkedIn notes in the show notes so they can just do one click and get straight to you. So all that is for me from Remain Alex. Thank you very much for joining us today. Appreciate your time. Appreciate your insights. It's been great having you.
Great. Always a pleasure, Gary. Thank you very much.
All the best. And thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us for yet another episode of the Growth Focus podcast. And as per usual, if Alex has given you a golden nugget or more that you can think, yeah, I need to take control of that, I need to take action on that. Remember, knowledge is not power until you take action on it. Please make a comment, please like, but more than likely, please share, subscribe, and share this episode out with other people so that other people can grow their business as well. So until the next episode of the Growth Focus podcast, keep working hard, but more importantly, be smart and be profitable. See ya. Bye-bye. Alex made a load of great points in this episode, but there was one that I kept coming back to over and over again. He talked about businesses coming to him after what he called a failed tech start. They jumped in too fast, they grabbed the first tool that sounded right, and ended up with more fragmentation than they had before. More software that doesn't talk to each other, more process gaps, and a team that still doesn't know how to use any of it properly. That pattern isn't unique to AI, though. I see it with revenue infrastructure all the time. Founders move fast, add tools, add headcount, and assume growth will naturally follow. And sometimes it does. But often there's a gap between where the lead comes in and the money landing in the bank. And nobody is actually looking at that. Well, that's exactly what the revenue leak audit is for. It's a free 30-minute call where we get into your business and find where revenue is actually slipping through. No pitch, no sales call, just a direct look at where the gaps are. So if you want to book one of those revenue leak audits, the link is in the show notes. Alex also left us with something simple that's worth sitting with. Be yourself, tell your story, and be consistent with it. In a world full of AI slop, that's just not good content advice. It's how you build a business that people actually trust. So until next time, we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.